Hello, this is a Steinway Model O grand piano made in 1904. That's 5'10.5" inches long, 180 centimetres. It's come back into stock. It was sold by us in 2010 when we French polished the piano and did some restoration work, and it was previously restored as well. So let's just appreciate the piano and see what else needs doing on it as well. It has one-piece Ivory Keys. You can always tell that because there's no lime here. If there's two-piece, then there's a front piece as is normal, and the back piece which is separate. Here's a piano with two-piece ivories as you would normally get. You can see the stronger line there where the keys come off and been stuck back on, and even stronger line here where it's come off and stuck back on. But normally the line isn't that visible. If you look there, the notes are not being played so much. You can hardly see the line, but there's definitely a line between front and back. The piano was French polished by us in 2012, sorry. You can see the beautiful grain here. We try to bring out the maximum contrast in grain, so do it a colour that shows up the light grain and then the dark grain, and in rosewood pianos, which is the most common high quality wood on the old Steinways, and Blutners and Becksteins too use rosewood, so we're frequently repolishing them. You can see the grain on the side there, again bringing out maximum contrast, and finished off after 30 coats of French polish, finished off with antique waxing so it doesn't have too much of a shine, and then you can see the grain. So you can see the polisher's delighted to get hold of one of these to polish, and it's good to see it's all still in more or less perfect condition. Now, having said that, there is a fade line on the top lid. We've mentioned this many times in videos, and when we sell a piano that's been repolished, if you have this exposed and this not exposed, then you can just see a difference. You may not be able to pick it up very much on the video, but if you look perhaps from here you can see it. So that's been kept folded over like that, and so then when you open it up, so this side's lightened off slightly as well, so when you open it up you can see a definite contrast. And if it's left for a very long time, we often buy pianos that have an extreme fade line, and then we obviously repolish it, or just have to sell the piano less expensively. If you left this one closed and exposed to light, then over the years, and this is 10-year period, it will gradually fade in, so it will match in. So looking at the back end, again, beautiful grain, rosewood, and Steinway is one of the best, obviously. And there we can see, I don't know if you can pick out the fade line, but of course it's going to be, you may not worry too much about that, but it has devalued the piano in my estimation slightly because it's not absolutely perfect. But it's the only defect we can see, and the clients get the piano in extremely good condition. The rest of the case, let's have a look around the other side too. So the long side of the piano, also the same phenomenal grain on it and wonderful contrast. Now the inside of the piano's been restored before we bought the piano, and well done. We noticed the one-piece ivories, which was probably done in the 70s, I would think, and judging by the colour of the strings too. So my guess is 60s or 70s it was done, and by someone who had obviously done a lot of Steinways. Just, you can tell by the tone of it and the way it's been done, and the soundboard's been shimmed as well. These are actually shims, if you see the lines there. They're not open, they've been shimmed and restored, the soundboard completely, which is typical what's done by good restorers, and the frame's been refinished as well. I did pitch raise the piano by about 4 beats, three beats, just to check the tightness of the tuning pins, and they're all pretty much very tight. They're just set 1 or 2, because when the piano's been tuned a lot over a 10-year period, the tuning pins can get very slightly loose, and now they're rock solid again. So I've set 1 or 2 tuning pins. This is a rest pin or tuning pin setter. It's just a square end and not like a tuning lever, but you hold that tight. The idea is to hold it as tight as possible, and then with a light hammer just tap the top of it and watch the coil move slightly, so that just roughens up the wood. When it's been turned backwards and forwards a lot, it's smooth. The wood gets a bit smoother. You get a slight thread as in a screw. So as the pin's knocked in slightly, then it just roughens up the wood. And I learnt that actually right in the very early days when the Steinway piano tuner came to tune the piano in the concert hall I used to tune for, and he recommended doing that if any of the pins were slightly loose. Now if we look at the action, all the felts are tight. This hinged felts here is really important that they're tight, and they don't need lubricating either, they're just perfect really. And looking at the hammers, there's very little wear, as you can come in here, so the client who bought it from us didn't really use it very much at all. Looking back here though, I just wanted to point out that there's some regulation which we want to do. Don't know whether we didn't do that in 10 years ago, or whether we've hopefully have improved over the years anyway. That is higher, as you can see. The hammer blow has been reduced to 47, it's about 52 there, so that will make a good difference to the sensitivity of the touch. There's several other small minor jobs which I've written on the worksheet, which we'll look at in a second. So we don't need too much regulation on the set-off, and also the drop screw. And this one has, the spring is nice and tight. That one springs a bit less, so just bits of minor regulation to do. Now on the assessment sheet, my colleague's written a lot of minor regulation that he's doing here, and various comments, as I've mentioned, as they've restored and French polished brass in 2012 and bought back 2022. So it's always encouraging we get our own pianos back, because they're ones that we will need to work less on, hopefully. There is some regulation to do here though, and you can see the key weighting. 49 is reasonably good, 51, so it's not that bad. It's slightly varied, perhaps a little more varied than we'd like it to be. So after we've lubricated the balance rail, and I think we'll lubricate the rollers too, then we'll just see what sort of fine regulation still needs doing. So let's compare the tone with some other pianos. This is a Bechstein Model C made in 1913. And a Bechstein Model M made in 1964. So that's a Steinway Model O grand piano, 5 foot 10 inches, 10.5 long, made in 1904. And we sold the piano in 2012. It's come back into stock. And there's still some regulation we'd like to do on the piano. It may be that there's some regulation we didn't do in those days that we are doing now, so hopefully we're improving all the time. And it sings just as you'd expect it to, a 1904 Steinway, one of the best sounding pianos there is. And huge contrast, and it will be more delicate once the hammers are raised up slightly. Those two we've raised up as an example. If you want to play really quietly, it's going to be easier to play very, very quietly. So that's one of the reasons we're doing the fine regulation, so that you can get maximum contrast on volume. Beautiful tenor area. And a warm bass as well. I can highly recommend the piano. If you're interested in the pianos to study on, or just want a Steinway and want a French polished Steinway that looks the part too. So the case is slightly faded on the top, but really otherwise is as when we repolished it, which is encouraging. kind of piano that I'd like to play all day long. And when it's finally regulated, it'll be even more delightful to play. So thank you very much for listening. If you're interested in the piano, please do write to us, info@robertspianos.com.